Welcome to AK Podcast, where we explore science and nutrition behind livestock care and management with the best and the brightest in the business. I'm your host, Chris Radke, part of the sales department here at Agri-King. And with me today, as usual, is the director of field services and a member of the sales management team, Mr. Mike Donaldson. Mike, how you doing, buddy?
Outstanding, Chris. It's just always a fun time of year as you get through spring and start to see some glimpses of summer. And I do like all four seasons, but I kind of like this one best, maybe.
Yeah, I think spring is definitely becoming one of my favorites. I just love the idea of the possibilities that could be for the rest of the year, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Hey, Mike, who's with us and what are we going to be talking about?
Well, one of the things Agri-King really works hard on is continuing training and education for our people, for our field people. And the gentleman we have joining us today actually presented at our international sales meeting last month. And it was such a well done and enlightening presentation. We asked if he'd be willing to do a podcast with us, and he consented. So today we have Chris Keene from ProMat. Chris is basically a world-renowned expert on cow comfort. He works across the globe, and we wanted to just go into kind of redo some of the things he did for our consultants last month when it came to aspects of cow comfort. So, Chris, welcome to the podcast. Could you give us a little bit of your background and how you came to be such an advocate for keeping cows comfortable?
Well, thank you for having me on there, and I really enjoyed the international meeting. It's nice to work with people that understand cows. You guys work hard to feed them. Fantastic organization you have, which helps me get the cows laying down. So about 25 years ago, I started with ProMat. ProMat invented the cow mattress in 1991. There was no mattresses. Since then, we've come a long way. We've had customers that loved our mattress and some that didn't, way back in the late 90s, early 2000s. So we started doing a lot of video research and studying and like, why does one customer love this product and one doesn't? It really boiled down to dimensions and barn design. So our holistic approach to our whole company was making sure that these barns are built for a cow. You know, we're taking a live animal, we're confining her 100%, and we're not giving her the area to lay down properly, the ventilation, all of that stuff. So we want to make sure our philosophy is bringing outdoor behavior indoors, natural environment for the cow. Anything she can do outdoors, whether it's laying with her legs extended, we want her to perform in the dairy. So we work really hard with contractors and builders and farmers and engineers to get these barns built correct. And I've done thousands of videos, as you've seen in the presentation, just proving the point. You know, how's a cow get up? How's a cow get down? What kind of lunge room? So that's our approach. So we've really promoted building a very strong mattress systems and making sure those cows are comfortable, happy, and chewing their cuds.
One of the things that, and I'd actually seen some of your videos years ago, and I was really glad, maybe they've been updated, but I was really glad to see you using that same approach. And I apologize to our audience. We're kind of hamstringing Chris because we don't have a good way to show videos on the podcast. But could you describe, I guess the thing that so impressed me the first time and again last month, you've got some videos with a grid superimposed over the picture, and you're actually showing a cow getting up, the amount of room she needs to come forward, the way she lies down, the degree to which the head acts to get her butt off the ground, basically. Could you describe what your videos are showing?
So what I'm really showing is that head. A cow is a hunted animal in nature. She needs to bob her head, all that weight forward to transfer her weight properly so she can get up naturally. She lunges and her chin touches the ground. So her bed and what's in front of her needs to be the same level dimension. Anything we put there, as we raise that, anything in front of her up, it could be bedding, it could be concrete. It changes her ergonomics. She just can't bob her weight She starts struggling. So if she can bob her weight forward, she lunges forward, transfers her weight on her knees, and stands up. Now, when you get the neck rail and the width of the stall and the lunge room correct, it's a no-brainer. There's no hawk sores. She's not rubbing. She's not hitting metal. She's getting up like she's in pasture. So we want to make sure her experience in that dairy is very natural. And then you'll find cows will get up more, go eat more, go lay down. And cows lay down, they chew their cud, nutrition starts working, you know?
I think I'm probably a little older than you. We don't need to get into a fight over that. But I can remember very clearly being, 40, 50 years ago and being around somebody. And if they were looking at a barn, they were going to change, they were going to redo. And it was very common. Well, if I make the stalls 2 inches smaller, I could get 2 more stalls on a side. We're going to, in a tie stall barn, we're going to make sure we put a big curb in front of that cow so that no bedding goes into the feed, no feed goes under the cow. Have we stopped doing quite so many stupid things, or is it as bad as it's ever been?
Man, I wish we could say that we have. I've been in the new dairies and our colleagues, and we're talking about renovations. It's brand new. The information's out there. Really, shame on you if you can't get this right. It's my biggest challenge all the time with stall width, getting that extra stall. Well, if they can't lay down in it, you're not gaining anything. And I recommend 1-to-1. It doesn't happen, guys. They're 10%, 20% overstocked. When you get the stalls right and the beds right, you'll notice those cows don't have a bed. When it's not right, there's always cows walking around. So, getting those stalls correct, man, they lay down. We've had dairymen reduce their cows in some of these small dairies. I'm from Canada, 60 cows, 2 robots. And, they've built a new barn and reduced cows like 20 cows and getting more production than they did before.
Is it? I'm trying to figure out how to phrase this one. So I know I guess I want you to tell a story, but if I tell the story, it's not as good as leading you to telling the story. You told us about a farm, newish construction, and you essentially convinced him to go get some jackhammers. Could you tell the beginning and end of that story? I thought that was fascinating that you could get, you're a good salesman because you got somebody to break out some pretty fresh concrete.
That was a farm in Michigan about 20 years ago. And people were starting to put these concrete barriers in front of the cow. And you know what? They're building it for the contractor. They're making it easy to put this metal in. Let's just slap the metal in. Let's pour a bunch of concrete at the front. They're not putting the cow at the top of the pyramid. She's got to be number one. So I said to the guy, I said, listen, I'd love to sell you mats right now. I said, I'm not going to do any difference for you. You should put some money in some of this design and we'll come back later. Now, my dealers hate that, right? Because I could just sell. But I said, listen, if you want the performance, you can't put a Ferrari engine in a Lada and expect the performance from that vehicle. So I said, take your smallest row. Let's jackhammer this concrete flat. He had fairly good lunge room. So the cows they were coming up, 8, 12 inches on this concrete. You could see them struggling on the back end, trying to negotiate where their head goes. So this forces the cow to go sideways to gain a little bit more level lunge room. And that's why you see cows on angles. They're telling you there's a barrier in front. So he did. He jackhammered this row out and didn't change anything else. And unbelievable. Cows were laying straight. Those stalls filled first. And he did the whole barn. This was a significant barn. It was like 1,500, 1,800 cows. I mean, it was a huge undertaking to go in there, move cows, jackhammer concrete, fix it back up. So we did go back in. I made lots of adjustments on neck rail location, heights of the stall. He actually replaced all his metal at this point. He had some metal design for a contractor. That's how I put it. So we got all these things right, and, just night and day difference. He actually told me it's one of the best things he ever did and really appreciated it. And what really got him to do that was, I always have my iPad in my hand. I've shown him videos of a cow in the grass getting up naturally in pasture, and then cows in dairy barns like I showed you guys. So it's so clear what a cow does. And he says, I feel stupid. I said, we get tunnel vision. We just, your focus is your reality. When you change how you look at something, you change what you see. And it changed his whole perspective on these cows are banging metal. They're polished. The steel's breaking. Guess what? Your stalls are too narrow. You got no lunge room. Even if you switch to jerseys, you're still going to have a problem. So yeah, it's really visual for me, these videos.
I think one of the things, and I've only been able to do this occasionally, but to people who think that modern agriculture, modern livestock agriculture is nothing but cruelty and animals being abused and short lifespans, and I've taken them, I've picked good places, but you take them to a barn that's set up correctly, and it's like, I want to come back as her. If I don't get to heaven on the first try, I want to come back as that cow, because look at her. She's laying on the beach. She's in a mattress that better than the one I sleep on. She's got food. She's got water. And I think trying to get people to understand, yes, we farm in order to make money. We do it to try and attain a profit, but that is so much more achievable when you take care of those animals and give them the things that they need. And I think that's what your videos and your approach are make it so attractive to me, is just those things.
That's the key. We want to make a Hilton, a 5-star hotel for these cows. Guess what? We're all here today right now because the cow fed us. Right? We're in the harvesting milk and cows.
Mm-hmm.
You got to walk into this barn and it's calm. The cows aren't running from you. You can tell a lot of behavior about the farmer too, with how the cows are reacting when you walk in. You want the airflow good. These cows are just happy, up and down, eat, drink, lay down, get milked. This animal, we got to give her the tools she needs. It's so simple, man. It really sometimes blows me away on these large corporate dairies, and I'm doing, 10,000, 20, 30,000 milking cow dairies. You got to get it right. It changes. I don't care if you got 50 cows or 30,000. These cows need the room to get up, and they have to get up naturally. If you give her the tools, she pays back. You just give her what she needs, and she'll provide you with the milk. So we can't expect high production on a cow that can't lay down 12 to 14 hours a day. You guys know it well. I love working with nutritionists because they understand, and I've seen you guys get blamed for a lot of things. I've gone to a dairy, and yeah, we're switching for 5 cents a pound. We're going to get our production up. Guess what, guys? Your cows can't lay down. When do they make milk? When they're laying down. That's their factory. Chewing their cud, ruminating. Now the nutrition works. The genetics work. Reduces her stress level. Everything goes up. Milk production, reproduction, everything. So having a comfortable bed, it was more than just making something soft for a cow to lay on. Now, we did invent it. We have lots of copies out there. We're still #1 in the world for sure. We're in over 65 countries, and I am going to countries where these beds are definitely better than what these humans are sleeping on. And I got to say, the ones we're working on with the engineers and the group of colleagues I work with globally building these dairies, they listen to us and they get it right. And it's just fantastic walking in to get that feeling like you're talking about. The calmness, you can feel it. You can see the cows are enjoying it. And we take care of our cows, man, and they will take care of you. Extra lactations, let's go.
It's kind of interesting. I wanted to sort of disclaimer, and you're right. I think nutritionists do get blamed for a lot, and maybe we take credit for stuff we shouldn't too. I'm not sure. I know the blame thing happens. I think there's, to say something's working is such an elusive definition because I mean, I've always said there's farms our Agri-King people, if they can keep somebody over 70 pounds of milk or 50 pounds of organic milk, it might be lifetime employment. And there's other farms, if they drop under 95, they're out the door. I mean, there's just people get to decide what success looks at, and that's great. I have no trouble with that. But it does, like you say, that aspect of, can she lie down? Is she living a good life? Was there a point where you saw you were talking about the steels there for the contractor, the cement to put the steel in? Was there a time period when it was really bad as far as designing for lowest cost per square foot? And I mean, I remember seeing the freestyle loops that had the big bend in the front because we were going to train them there. Well, they don't need any lunge space. They're going to get up going sideways. And that means your barn is going to be able to be 4 feet narrower. And that is this many cubic yards of cement. And, we're going to save you money by doing this. Was there a time it was really bad?
There was. I mean, when you're going back 15, 20 years, even, 15 for sure, just this cost, bring it down. Let's make the barn narrower, let's, get these costs down, and it just affects the cow. At the end of the day, you're building a facility to house a cow. We've gotten a lot better, man. There's a lot of good information out there. I've been recommending in my company 18-foot head-to-heads for 20 years. They looked at me like there
Yeah.
was stuff on my nose. The same dimensions. And, a mature Holstein needs 10 feet from the back of the curb to a wall to get up naturally. It's a lot of room. But boy, I'll tell you, it pays off. Not only that, you increase airflow between these animals. So we get a lot of airflow between them or in front of them, which is critical. They're heaters. They blow a lot of heat at each other. So yeah, that's, we are really passionate on that. I mean, I'll do this presentation on a tailgate in the back of a barn, get them to get the people that clean the stalls. I want them there. I want them to see the videos. Why are they cleaning these stalls? How important is this animal? Sitting around on hay bales and doing a presentation, like there's nothing better than seeing somebody think, oh man, I get it. Wow. Yeah, this makes sense.
Gotta still be hard if you're going to have, whether it's a 3-row barn and you have to have a row of stalls facing out, or if they've arranged a 2-row barn so they're tail to tail, where you're telling somebody to move that post that much further out from the front of the stall. That's got to still be one of the tougher things you deal with, isn't it?
It is. And I'm really lucky. I work with large dairy designers like 5G Consulting that design mega dairies around the world. We've worked together for 20 years. I've been doing presentations with them. They make the barn from the drawing stage to accommodate all of this, whether it's, water space, water consumption for the cow, how many, the width of the barn, all of this, and when you start it off right and it just works, it's really not difficult, but that is hard. Somebody's going to make the barn 10 feet shorter or narrower. Man, you know what? You're going to pay for that for 20 years. You really will.
Well, I wanna get to so I think it's interesting the number of approaches you offer, and we're not trying to say that you're the only one that should ever put a mattress in. You'd be the one that did mine. But before I have you run through some of the things that you can do on the mattress side, suppose you come to my farm, I'm milking, like you say, it could be 100 cows, it could be 10,000 cows. And the facility was designed 20 years ago. And I don't have the head to head. I can't get the dimension that you want. What are some things you've seen or would recommend to try and help me be better than I am? If it's not time to rip down barns and build new, what are some things you've seen that could help me be better? Not right, but better.
Yeah, and we see this every day. I mean, depends on succession plans, where are they going in 5 years, all of that stuff comes in. We get a tape measure out. So what I look for when I go into a dairy and our colleagues and our good dealers, if the cows are in the parlor, we look at the steel. If there's massive polishing on the metal, polishing on the neck rail, meaning it's really shiny,
And
where's
and
the,
and
yeah,
and you're saying the cows are in the parlor, but you're looking at the stalls with them out of them.
absolutely.
Okay,
You have
perfect.
to listen to cows with your eyes, not your ears. So the next thing I look for is where's the manure placed at the back of the stall? When we get manure directly underneath dividers, they're on an angle. Why are they on an angle? They're telling you, I can't lunge. I can't lunge forward, so I need to get up on an angle. I need to lay down on an angle. You'll get polishing in the one corner on the neck rail. You'll get polishing on the sides where her hips touch. And what we'll do there is, listen, guys, you've got a wall, the cow's going nowhere. Let's get this neck rail further ahead, at least so she can walk in. The stalls have to be the right width. If we can increase the width of it, it can compensate a little bit for the forward lunge. So the farmer knows, at least he knows why his cows are on an angle. They need that room. So got to try to accommodate it. It's critical. That head is critical for her getting up naturally. And that causes a lot of stress on the animal, big time, which affects everything down the road.
Well, before I turn you loose on some of the options, I think, and I'd sort of put this back to the first time I saw your videos. I think it's important you think about for us, okay? I went to bed last night. I laid down in bed. I was conscious I was lying down in bed. However, I didn't think much when I got up this morning. I was more focused on laying down than I was getting up. And I was, I've done this and it's a pretty good game to play with people. If you won't stand where you want a cow to lie down and drop to your knees without touching anything, just you don't have to jump up. But if you won't drop to your knees, then you should not be asking that cow to lie down. But I think the thing that you guys opened my eyes to is the importance of when she stands up, that she can get her feet dug in a little bit, that she doesn't scramble. I mean, you watch cows and you see in their eye when they're nervous about having to get up and not sure how this is going to work. And I think that's one of the pieces of a proper bed that sometimes people don't appreciate that, do they?
No, it's taken for granted a lot. We did invent it, and you've got to have that dig in. And like you said, if you're not going to drop to your knees on it, man, why would you put a cow on it? She's huge. So we make sure our mattresses, they dig in, they get that sure footing. You don't want them being scared of slipping. When she's standing, you want that neck rail in a location so we got all four of her feet on the dry bed, off the alley, keeping her hoofs dry and, making better for back foot health. Very important. Now, listen, I got competitors, lots of them. Hard, thick rubber, because we make top covers that last up to 20 years. And that's a fabric that's thin and is abused by that cow daily. There's not much else on the farm 20 years old, and you're complaining about a mattress. John Deere's 3 years old.
Yeah.
So it's really important, and our engineers are fantastic. We do a lot of in-house testing and with metal hoofs and cycling them hundreds of thousands of times to get this. And we really look at the cow. It's got to be for the cow. Listen, if I'm a couple bucks more, I'm going to justify why we are number one in the world. My job is getting her laid down, comfortable, get up easy. And listen, I don't sell the steel, but I sure promote it to my dealers. You got to get the steel right, or we don't want to be putting the mats in with you, and we're adamant. We're well known around the world. Definitely.
Now, I'd like you to give a little, I mean, last month, it was interesting to see the array of ways you can address a mattress, a stall. even to the point of some areas, almost a hybrid system that incorporates sand, but in a way that cuts down on the usage of sand. Could you give us a little bit of a run through how you folks approach the marketplace?
Yeah, so we have a large menu. We have options for any climate, any cow size. So we want to fit the right product with the dairy or the climate or country we're working in. A big thing we've been doing for at least 15, 20 years is a product called Pack Mat. Now, this, you don't see it when you walk in the barn. It goes underneath the sand on an earth base. You don't have to pour concrete. It's a mattress system, and then we leave a couple inches, 2 to 3 inches of sand on top. Well, she gets the comfort because she's got a mattress underneath and she gets the sand, which is great. The farmer's getting 75% less sand usage. The big thing for us was now the stalls remain the same. I put this neck rail at 50 inches. She digs a hole, changes every day. Cows hate change. So now the mattresses look like they were manicured all day. It can make a dairyman that's not so good at doing the bedding look a lot better.
Yeah.
Some guys with sand bed every 3-4 weeks. They put this big 4-foot pile of sand in the cow. Look at the production sheet. You'll see a dip in production. And I'll say, is that when you bedded? They said, yes, it is. I said, well, the first thing to do, bed once a week at least. That he'll say, there's nothing in front of my cows. I see you got a 4-foot pile of sand. She's not lunging into it. She's going sideways. She digs it out. It doesn't lay down as much. So we know that as sand bedding gets lower, the surface becomes harder and lay times decrease. Having that mattress on top, underneath, with a little sand on top, benefit of both worlds. Cow gets the dimensions, the comfort. Dairyman's getting 70% less sand, which is, manure handling and trucks coming in and out, leveling and raking. So again, it's cow comfort. It's getting those consistent dimensions, and how do we achieve it? This system can be used, and we use it all over the world. Sand, compost. Some parts of Canada, like British Columbia, they use sawdust, chopped straw. In Finland, they'll use peat. So it's a deep packed material that can be used anywhere. And it's a fantastic system, being studied in depth at a Madison University.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when it comes to a pure mattress, what are the approaches that you especially like to use? So, say you're coming to my farm, new construction, and for whatever reason, I do not want to use sand anymore. What are the directions you might show me?
Well, if they don't want to use sand, the Pack Mat's a good one because you're not pouring concrete. If they want to get right out of that, maybe it's a manure handling issue. They're just fed up with sand. It's poor concrete, but you're committed. You're committed to a mattress. You better have the right dimensions, because now there's no forgiving. In a deep sand bed, it's forgiving. That cow can dig her dimensions a little bit, So it's got to be right. And that's where we see the biggest problems, when you're committed on concrete and you don't have the right dimensions. And we wouldn't be selling a system at all if we didn't think it was fantastic. So we do have 5 or 6 options: water beds, foam systems. We have a mattress, our number one seller, recycled rubber tires in tubes like an air mattress, nice foam layer, high density, designed just for a cow, and a protective top cover. So all these systems are a little bit different price ranges, but what does it fit the farmer? And fitting the farmer with the right product for him, especially his management, it is very important.
That's perfect. I I think it's fun talking to you, Chris, because you've got such passion for what you do, and you talk about being all over the world. You talked about, I can't even remember, the Philippines or Indochina. Do you have as we get close to the end here, do you have but bet you didn't know they do this in that country kind of story you want to share?
I do. And I don't know if I showed the video to you guys. It freaked me out. It was about 10 years ago, and I went to this, in Indonesia, they'll build higher up elevation because it's so hot. It's a tropical area. Land's cheaper. We've taught them now how to do tunnel barns at sea level. But this story is, I go there and I'm standing outside, and there's like huge flights of concrete stairs, and these cows are going up and down it twice a day to the parlor. I mean, guys, stairs. I'll send you this video after, but and the guy's like, well, yeah, just make the stairs the right dimensions and they can walk up it. And I'm going, okay, you got me on the dimensions. Cause I said, I've never seen, and I've showed dairymen, they're going, no way. And I mean, like, 20, 30 concrete steps that go around in a circle to get down this hill to go to the parlor. And that was, to me, I thought that was just amazing. And he's like, well, yeah, you don't make them correct. I mean, make the right width. There's no problem. I'm going, okay.
Oh, that's a good one. That's very good. Any other thoughts to wrap things up here that, I mean, you kind of said the same thing through the whole talk here about comfort and taking care of cows, but I want you to bring it to a close in your own words.
I would say if you're looking to upgrade, every penny you spend on cow comfort, we know we get a return on that investment. Got to remember it. We're here for the cow. She's giving us all the profits we need to maintain these facilities and buildings and employees. Man, let's take care of her. We call us in. You need a quality product. You need to look at things sometimes from different eyes, but we stand behind our products. We truly make a difference, and we add a lot of value to what we do. Listen, I'm a mattress guy. That's all I do. We do a little bit of rubber as well, but people go, that's all you guys sell? Yeah, we focus. That's all we do. So I would say get some good people in the dairy, call our folks. We'll send in some dealers. We got great reps around the world, especially in the US. And let's take a look at what you got and look at your options. It's, make it clear, nothing funny, not just dropping quotes. Here's why, right? That's a good company and that's a good sales.
Well, I know, and you and I talked a little bit about how much people use the internet and go look and go find, and I'm sure that they could probably search ProMat, they could search Chris King, but to make it a little easier on them, could you share some contact information in case someone listening to us wants to get in touch with you folks?
Yeah, I think the best way is right to the website, promatinc.com. Shows all of our products, all of our contact information is no problem. If you have somebody email you, they need something, let us know. We'll send you a link or send some videos or send in some dealers to go over it. And I'd love to do another presentation with your guys or, another event. That's what we do. We get the word out there. We're not scared to share what we know.
That's perfect. Well, Chris, I think that's ought to give you a lot of things you can. Same question as always, Chris. What'd you learn?
Hey, something I'm always fascinated with somebody who takes a quote unquote simple problem and basically figures out a way to fix that and solve that problem, whether it's something as simple as what McDonald's or Steve Jobs or what Chris is doing. I'm fascinated with that you saw probably thousands of hours of videos. How many hours do you think you have, like total?
It really
like
is.
Just the videos you showed us is
it's
incredible.
Thousands, and with our colleagues, yeah, honestly, thousands. It's just crazy.
Yeah. And just the fact you just play. I remember one of the videos, it just seemed like it looped, and I was just like, "Wow, that cow really leans forward." It's like what you learned from that, and then you're bringing that you brought it to us, but now you bring it to other people. That I'm just fascinated with that idea. So,
and we do a lot of
keep
the
it up,
time lapse video
Yeah.
too. So we'll set up cameras and run it 1 second equals a minute when we're done to troubleshoot a barn. So yeah, that's a big thing. Time lapse.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just studying it just another way. Like I would never think about that. Like, why wouldn't you study the cow in the pasture? Where
No, really,
lives.
Why?
Yeah, it makes sense when somebody gives you the problem. So,
well, and the other thing, I'm not sure where you would have to farm before your cows are not going to spend part of the year in a barn. There's probably some place where they own nothing but a shade cloth, but even the dairies in the United States that I've ever been to that pasture heavily, there's still at least 3 or 4 months a year that they're going to be primarily inside.
Mother Nature's tough.
Yep.
We've had dairies where we leave gates open and they don't go out.
Sure.
I'm dead serious.
They love your Hilton experience.
Absolutely. They stay in the resort, go for the spa,
Yeah.
right?
Get their nails done.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. If you liked us or like what we talked about, like what you listened to or like what you heard, you can hit us up on any of our socials. You can now find this video on our website, agriking.com. And if you have any questions, you can email us at podcast@agriking.com. All right. Thank you very much, Chris. And thank you, Mike. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you both.
Thanks, guys. Good to see you again.